Hey everybody, thanks for coming back and hanging out with Mr. Bauer today. Today in literacy we're going to be talking about identifying theme in stories, and the story that we're going to look at specifically today is called a fable. It was written a long time ago by a guy named Aesop, and lots of his fables are here to teach lessons, which is perfect for theme because when we're talking about theme, we're talking about the central idea or the underlying message taught in a piece of writing. It's the lesson we learn. It's the moral. So when you think about it, which one is it? Is a theme a chart you can use to help put all the main events in order? Is it a brief written retelling of all the main events and key details? Is it the central idea or an underlying message a piece of writing teaches? Or is it important details about who, what, when, where, and why? Which one do you think it is? 1, 2, 3, or 4? If you said it's the third one, you are absolutely right. It's the main idea that is trying to teach us. It's the lesson we learn. It's the message. It's the moral of the story. Okay? Many stories teach lessons. The lesson a story teaches is also its theme. All right, so there are many different types of themes. Today we're just going to focus on one of these, and that is on honesty. Now, we have theme subjects and theme statements. A subject, we're just going to call that a one-word theme, like honesty. And then a little bit later, we're going to come up with theme statements, which is a sentence that we can use. In this case, it's going to be a sentence about honesty. Okay? So honesty, a theme statement, could be something like, telling the truth helps you avoid getting into more trouble. Another theme statement could be, trustworthiness helps you earn and keep long-lasting friendships. A third theme statement could be, there are consequences for lying and not being honest to others. So in certain stories, different theme statements about honesty could be like that. Okay? Maybe you've read a couple books about honesty. The book Too Many Tamales by Gary Soto. Mr. Peabody's Apples by Madonna. Those are about honesty or have theme subjects about honesty. There's also Doug Dennis and the Flyaway Fib by Darren Farrell and The Empty Pot by Demi as well. Okay, so like I said, we're going to jump over and take a look at Aesop's Fable today. What I'm going to be doing is filling out this theme recording sheet. We're going to try to figure out the one-word theme, a second one-word theme, and then coming up with a theme statement, which is our sentence. And then we're also going to go back into the story and pick 2 reasons why we picked that. Okay? So if you like these stories, you can go up to read.gov, and there are tons and tons and tons of these. The one that we're going to focus on today is called Mercury and the Woodman. All right? And when you click on it, there's our Woodman. So we can use our pictures to figure out what this is. So I like that sound. All right, here we go. The Mercury and the Woodman. A poor woodman was cutting down a tree near the edge of a deep pool in the forest. It was late in the day and the woodman was tired. He had been working since sunrise and his strokes were not so sure as they had been early that morning. Thus it happened that the axe slipped and flew out of his hands into the pool. Oh boy. The woodman was in despair. The axe was all he possessed, with which to make a living, and he had not money enough to buy a new one. As he stopped wringing his hands and weeping, the god Mercury suddenly appeared and asked what the trouble was. The woodman told what had happened, and straightway the kind Mercury dived into the pool. When he came up again, he held a wonderful golden axe. Not sure if that was the original axe that the woodman was using. "Is this your axe?" Mercury asked the woodman. "No," answered the honest woodman. "That is not my axe." Mercury laid the golden axe on the bank and sprang back into the pool. This time he brought up an axe of silver. But the woodman declared again that his axe was just an ordinary one with a wooden handle. Mercury dived down for the 3rd time, and when he came up again, he had the very axe that had been lost. The poor woodman was very glad that his axe had been found, and could not thank the kind god enough. Mercury was greatly pleased with the woodman's honesty. "I admire your honesty," he said, "and as a reward, you may have all 3 axes, the gold and the silver, as well as your own." The happy woodman returned to his home with his treasures, and soon the story of his good fortune was known to everybody in the village. Now there were several woodmen in the village who believed that they could easily win the same fortune. They hurried out into the woods, one here, one there, and hiding their axes in the bushes, pretended they had lost them. Then they wept and wailed and called on Mercury to help them. And indeed, Mercury did appear. First to this one, then to that. To each one he showed an axe of gold, and each one eagerly claimed it to be the one he had lost. But Mercury did not give them the golden axe. Oh no! Instead, he gave them each a hard whack over the head with it and sent them home. And when they returned the next day to look for their own axes, they were nowhere to be found. Great story there. All right. So we take a look at this here. Our title of the story, we can look back here up at the top, and it says Mercury and the Woodman. So we'll type that in here. Mercury and the Woodman. All right. And as you guys are thinking of a one-word theme, let's see what you can come up with. One-word theme. I'm going to go with trustworthiness. It seemed like some of those axemen, the woodmen, were not trustworthy. But the one we're going to really use here today is honesty. All right. Another possible one-word theme is honesty, because when the woodman lost his axe and Mercury brought back different ones, he told the truth about which one was actually his. He declined the gold axe and the silver axe, and once he told the truth, he was able to get all 3 axes. All right, theme statement. Now here's what I'm thinking. We need to turn the word honesty into a sentence. And you might have heard this one before. Honesty is the best policy, which means it's the best way that you can act, right? If you do the honest thing, if you do the good thing, then good things will happen. Now, my hope is that you jump back onto this website and you explore some more of these Aesop's fables. But as a little hint, if you go all the way to the bottom, you're going to notice that at the very bottom, he's also included a theme statement for you. And honesty is the best policy is the same one that I used. So many times in many stories, almost all stories, you're going to be able to figure out the theme. But in these fables, it's going to tell you right down there. So you can see if your idea of a theme statement matches that. Okay. Now the last thing is that we need to come up with some pieces of evidence to support our theme statement. And this is going to be pretty similar to our second one, what we had up here. So we'll say the woodman told the truth about the gold axe and the silver axe, and he was rewarded with all 3 axes. So he told the truth and good things happened. But on the other hand, and I always love when stories do this, we've got somebody that makes the right choice and somebody that makes not such a good choice. The other woodman did not tell the truth, and instead of receiving any axe, they received a knock on the head. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting that violence is the answer, but instead of receiving any axe, they received a knock on the head. and were sent home. Now, of course, I'm not condoning violence. I don't want you to go out in the name of justice and harm people because of this. But it's a good idea that when you're honest, good things happen. Okay. Now, I can't promise you that I'm going to give you a gold axe or a silver axe, but I can tell you that the next time that you guys read a story, especially a fiction story, you can look for the theme, figure out what a one-word theme could be, the message, the lesson, what you're trying to be taught. Come up with a statement, and then when you can find some text to support your answer, then you're going to be in good shape, and you're going to understand that story a little bit better. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with Mr. Bauer, and we will see you next time.